I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje joda zoge jonam la chanju bardo dani gyapsu chi dagi jinso gebe tsonam ki chula pengi sanje dubara isho. Sanje joda zoge jonam la chanju bardo dani gyapsu chi dagi jinso gebe tsonam ki Dola pencere sangye jubara isho, sangye joda zoge jonamla, chanjo pardo dani gyapsuch, dage jinso gebe sonamge, dola pencere sangye jubara isho. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, no sameness. I've persuaded Supreme all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is the freedom of elaborations. I persuade to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the work of all these hearers seeking persecution complete peace, which through the knowledge of paths cause those who make practice achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps towards the expand variety of teachings. The one who is transformed into the reliable guide and motivated Bodhisattva to benefit sentient beings. The teachers who got them protected to your administrations. The one who has eliminated verbal conceptualizations and thus who turn a chance for the four of the noble life raised to you, the Buddha, make restorations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo niro evam vati mahashamanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear line and non-composite. Such a nectar-like dharma I've discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching in silence or without the words. Beyond our trance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and in the nature space. Is the origin of apprehension of self-realized wisdom to you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times of obeisance. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Constantly sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expansive billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realization is not transferred to them. is by teaching the truth of the suchness of the beings that are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all good in its rich gloom. If attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, today we'll read the 3 principal aspects of the path. Page 78. As what yesterday I indicated, that the 3 principal aspects of the path, they are renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. 3. And each one of them here, the author, Lama Tsongkhapa, explains each one of them on the basis of 3 points. One is, for example, let's say renunciation. Why to cultivate? The first one is, why to cultivate renunciation? Number 2, how to cultivate renunciation. Number 3, the measure of having generated or cultivated renunciation. So this is how you apply to the bodhicitta and the wisdom of emptiness. And also that when you keep in mind the style of composition of Lama Tsongkhapa, the author, is that what is already said he will not repeat. Number 1. Number 2, what is easy he will not reiterate. So those things, for example, like let's say having the measure of having cultivated renunciation. Once that is taught, then this is what you have to apply to the bodhicitta. So what is said there, you apply this to the bodhicitta, that what is the measure of having generated bodhicitta. He did not really repeat it again, because you have to extend it from what he taught in renunciation, related to renunciation. This you apply to take to the bodhicitta. So that way, the 3 points with all the 3 are related to the 3 principal, each of the 3 principal parts, and we're going to read which are the points related to the reason to cultivate, and the how to cultivate, and the measure of having cultivated. Okay, let's read this together. And particularly the points indicated there, extremely succinct, very clear, and with economy words. You see, particularly when you practice the renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, sometimes things can become very hazy and not too clear in your mind. And then you visit this 3 principal aspects of the path. And particularly, I remember His Holiness the Dalai Lama during his public address, public teachings on this. I remember him at least once, if not 2 or 3 times, saying that His Holiness used to read this every day. Recite it every, not read, recite it every day, which means by heart. So it'll be good, because this is extremely precious text. And later on, as your articulation, as the clarity builds up in your understanding of the 3 principal paths, the whole path, then you see that each of the words, they are so precious for us. They are like the keys to find the treasures of the 3 principal aspects. 3 principal aspects of the path by Lama Tsongkhapa. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. As well as I am able, I will explain the essence of the teachings of the Buddha. The path praised by the congruous children. Entrance for those who desire liberation. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones, who are not attached to the joys of a second existence. Strive to make good use of leisure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path places. Reverse attraction to this life by reflecting on how leisure and opportunity are difficult to find, and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karmas and its effects, and the miseries of samsara. Contemplating thus, when for an instant you do not admire the splendors of single existence, and born in you then. Renunciation, if not tempered by pure mind of bodhicitta, however, will not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise one, Jen, with the excellent mind of Bodhicitta, swept up in the current of the four powerful rivers, tied by strong winds of karma, swung, caught in the iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in boundless segregated existence, ceaselessly tormented by the three miseries. Thinking of your mothers in this condition, generate the supreme mind of Bodhicitta. Although you train in renunciation and the mind of Bodhicitta, without wisdom that realizes the ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of segregated existence. Therefore, strive to understand dependent arising. One has sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena in samsara and nirvana, and dissolves all focuses of apprehension, has entered the path which pleases the Buddhas. Appearance is infallible dependent arising. Emptiness is understanding that is free of assertions. As long as these two are seen as distinct, you have not yet realized the intent of the Buddhas. When these two realizations are concurrent, where the mere sight of infallible dependent origination concurrently destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment, at that time the analysis of the profound view is perfected. Furthermore, emptiness refutes the extreme of non-existence. When you understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by the view of the extremes. O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach the final inspired goal. And I remember His Holiness, when giving teaching on this, the verse number 14, where it says, O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the three principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination, and quickly reach the final inspired goal. So here, in fact, this says at the request of Lama Tsongkhapa's the student, he sent a message to Lama Tsongkhapa. Lama Tsongkhapa was in the central Tibet, and his student was somewhere in the to the extreme east of, I think, Dorji. There, the student sent a request letter to Lama Tsongkhapa through a messenger. Please give me a teaching on the comprehensive path. And then the Lama Tsongkhapa, knowing that his student is extremely enthusiastic, very dedicated, and having a very strong bent of spiritual mind towards enlightenment. So this was composed, and the last verse, when he said, "O my child." So here, His Holiness says that when you read this, when you recite this, if you could imagine that actually Lama Tsongkhapa is addressing to you as my spiritual child, and you cultivate these three principal paths, and once you cultivate it and these three, then put your full effort on the practice of these three. Study first, reflection. Once you get conviction that these three are the extremely efficacious paths to enlightenment, very comprehensive and efficacious paths to enlightenment, then you have to fully dedicate on the practice on these three things. So if you can, they say, imagine, visualize that Lama Tsongkhapa is actually talking to you, addressing to you. His Holiness says that this will leave a very strong karmic connection with Lama Tsongkhapa, that in the future lifetimes you'll be actually born right there as a student, that disciple of Lama Tsongkhapa. Okay, this is so precious. Okay, so now it is more like, say, we are coming to the, what do you call it, consolidating what we've learned of the wisdom of emptiness. So how to consolidate? I'd like to consolidate that on the basis of what is known as the reasoning of the four essentials to establish emptiness. The reasoning of four essentials to establish emptiness. Earlier, whatever we studied, they are like creating the basis, the foundation for us. And now will be consolidated. All what we've learned before will be consolidated out of these 4 points known as the reasoning of the four essentials. The reasoning of the four essentials to establish emptiness. Okay, the first is the essential of identifying the object of negation. essential of identifying the object of negation. Essential of identifying the object of negation. Negation. Object of negation. Number 2, the essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects. Essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being one with its parts. Essential of understanding the emptiness of, okay, let me change it a little bit. The essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically one. Let me add this word. Intrinsically one with its parts. Let me say this again. The essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically one with its parts. The essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically one with its parts. Number 3, the essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically different from its parts. The essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically different from its parts. Essential of understanding the objects being intrinsically, essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically different from its parts. Number 4, the essential of understanding the pervasion. The essential of understanding the pervasion. Pervasion. Essential of understanding the pervasion that, essential of understanding the pervasion that anything which is intrinsically, anything which is empty of being, intrinsically one, and intrinsically different from its parts. Let me repeat it. Essential of understanding the pervasion. Essential of understanding the pervasion that anything which is intrinsically empty of being, intrinsically one and intrinsically different from its parts, entails the emptiness of the objectivity of the object. Okay, let me repeat it. The essential of understanding the pervasion that anything which is empty of being, intrinsically one and intrinsically different from its parts, entails the emptiness of objectivity of the object. Let me repeat it. Essential of understanding the pervasion that anything which is empty of being, intrinsically one and intrinsically different from its parts, entails the emptiness of objectivity of the object. The essential of understanding the pervasion that anything which is empty of being, intrinsically one and intrinsically different from its parts, entails the emptiness of objectivity of the object. The essential of understanding the pervasion that anything which is empty of what? Empty of being intrinsically one and intrinsically being different from its parts entails the emptiness of objectivity of the object. Done? Good. Okay. So we have to go through each one of them. What is the first one? Essential of understanding identifying the object of negation. Essential of identifying object of negation. Okay. So when we say that the negation, what is negation? Negation means to reject. When we say there's no objective existence, what is rejected is that the objective existence is rejected. Let's say that There is no terrorist in this house, which means you reject existence of terrorists in this house. You reject the existence of terrorists in this house. There is no terrorist in this house. So when you say there is no objective existence, what is rejected? Objective existence is rejected. So what is rejected is known as what is negated. Objective negation, when you say there is no objective existence, what's the objective negation? Objective existence is the objective negation. If you say that I have no flower in my hand, what's the objective negation? No flower or flower. Flower in my hand is negated. You're getting it? Flower is not negated because there's a flower there. You cannot negate the flower. Flower is there. If it's not here, outside, there's a flower there. But the flower in my hand is negated. Okay. I don't have a car. What's the object negation? I don't have a car. What's the object negation? Okay. Car that I possess is negated. That I'm having a car is negated. Car is not negated. There are so many cars in the traffic. Right? Cars is not negated. That I having a car is negated. There is no alien objects. What's the object negation? There is no alien object. UFO, unidentified flying objects. There's no alien object. Alien object is object negation. You're getting it? Okay. The flower doesn't exist objectively. What's the objective? What is the object negation? What's the object negation? The flower does not exist objectively. What's the object negation? Objective existence of the flower. Yes, that you can put it like objective existence of flower, or the flower existence is objectively. That is negated. You getting it? Okay. So my two questions. First one, that the person does not exist objectively. What's the object negation? Raise hands. Raise hands, raise hands, more hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, Angela, what's the object negation? Oh, okay. So how many agree with Angela? How many don't agree with Angela? Angela said that objective existence of the person is the objective negation of the emptiness of the person. How many agree with Angela? Raise hands. How many don't agree with Angela? Or how many you lost? Okay. So those who agree with Angela, you got it. So that's perfect answer. Thank you. And the in other words, I say nothing exists objectively. What's object negation?
Objective existence of anything.
Objective existence of anything. Very good. Sunil, what's the object negation of? What's the object negation of object? Said, I don't have a flower. What's the object negation? That I'm having a flower is object negation. Perfect. So he's actually looking for perfect. He's a perfectionist. Right? Till everything is perfect, he said, I don't know. Right? Actually, he knows that already. Thank you. Okay. So, two questions. First, I wanted to ask that the person does not exist objectively. What's object negation? Raise hands. Raise hands. Raise hands. Raise hands. Okay. The Venerable Bitala? No, I don't say Geshe exists objectively. No, I do not say I. Do you remember? The person, right? Okay. Have a good ear. You're getting it? Have a good ear. The person does not exist objectively. What's objective negation? The person exists objectively, or the objectively existing person. You can put it in either way. Good. The person exists objectively, or objectively existing person is the object of negation of the emptiness of the person. My second question. What do you mean by objective existence of the person? Right, first what you said is objective negation. You said objective existence of the person is objective negation. What do you mean by objective existence of the person? What do you mean by objective existence? Raise hands.
That it's either one or different with its parts.
Say it again.
That it exists as either one or different with its parts.
That the object exists as one, intrinsically one, and intrinsically different from its parts. Is what I say? Okay. What is meant by the objective existence? It means that objective existence as intrinsically one with the parts or intrinsically different from the parts. This is what Philip is saying. Okay, anyone else? What do you understand by objective existence of a person? Speak in your own ways. Yes.
That the person exists independently of the perceiver.
Okay, listen, I was saying, these are very important because people come up with the different versions and all can be pointing to the same point. So that way your understanding can be enriched. So what is being said is that what is meant by objective existence? Although objective existence does not exist, but to say that it does not exist, you have to know what it is like. If it does exist, what it is like. So what Ben is saying, that the object existing independent of the observer. Observer means subject or object? Subject. That the object is independent of the subject, independent of the observer. That is the meaning of objective existence. Very good way of putting it. Anyone else?
The object existing truly from the observer.
That the object exists, the existing truly with respect to the observer. That's also a very good way of putting it. Anyone else? What do you understand by objective existence? Anyone else? Yes, Abhishek ji? An object existing independently. That is the meaning of objective existence. So independently, there are three connotations. The opposite of independence is what? What's the opposite of independence? Hey, dependence, dependent origination. Dependent origin, there are three levels. So when you say objective exists means independent existence. And independent should have the meanings, because there are three meanings of dependent origination. Opposite of these three also should have three different meanings. Which of the three you are inferring? Okay, anyone else? What is objective existence? Yes.
Inherent existence.
Something which exists inherently. Anyone else? Yes.
If you look inside the object, you will look for it and finally find something.
So when you go towards the object, objective, subjective. Objective means going towards the object. Subject means going towards the subject. Objective existence means something, for example, let's say the flower, you go towards the object and you should be able to find it there by going close to the object. That's also another meaning, yes.
The movie is on the screen and not from the project.
Not from the project? Okay. Say when you watch a movie here, so what is meant by objective existence of the movie? That the movie is existing from the screen, not from the projector. This is a very beautiful example. Anyone else? Yes, Lakshmi?
It's permanent and not changing.
Okay, something which is permanent and solid and not changing, right? That is the meaning of objective existence. Okay. How many agree with? How many don't agree with this? How many don't agree with this? Objective existence means something which exists independently, something which exists permanently and unchanging. Raise hands those who don't agree with this. 1, 2, 3. You don't agree? The girl there? Why not?
She said that it's impermanent.
Okay. Oh, that's a good point. So when saying objective, if that's a connotation of something permanent, what is subjective should be impermanent. Everything should be impermanent. But not that everything is impermanent. They're permanent phenomena also. Your battery? Thank you. Okay, the Lakshmi, did you get her point? What she is saying is that if objective existence means what is permanent, unchanging, what we learned is that everything exists subjectively, nothing exists objectively, which means nothing should be permanent, nothing should be unchanging. Is it true that nothing is permanent? Huh? Is it true that nothing is permanent? Why not? Because they are permanent phenomena. Yeah, we learn this. Whereas some people who have no systematic learning of Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy, they just heard something. All composite things are impermanent, and then they interpret that as everything is impermanent. This is very naive understanding. It's not that everything is impermanent only. Hey, not everything is everything is impermanent. There are permanent phenomena. There are things which are also permanent. Not that everything is impermanent. You're getting it? Good. Okay, thank you. And okay, so what is meant by objective existence? This is so important. Okay, let me say that I don't have a solak. What's object negation? That I'm having solak is an object negation. What do you mean by solak? Hey, I ask you and you ask me. All right? Is it true that I don't have solak? Huh? You don't know. Why you don't know? Huh? You know, I don't have solak. Is it true statement or wrong, false statement? You don't know. Why you don't know? MTech. MTech, tell me. We don't know the meaning of the solak. You're getting it? So what's the meaning of solak first? Then I'll tell you whether you have or not. Solak means that the bucket. I don't have a bucket in my pocket. I don't have solak in my pocket. Is it true or not? That's true statement. So what's object negation? Bucket in my pocket is negated. You're getting it? Bucket in my pocket is object negation. So look, without knowing what object negation is, you cannot negate it. This is what the MTech is saying. Right? MTech raise hand. Hey, MTech raise hand. This is our MTech. Right? So MTech is saying that without knowing what the object negation is, you cannot negate it. You getting it? So what we said is that there's no objective existence. This is what we learned the last 3 days. There's no objective existence. What's negated? What's object negation? Rachel? Objective existence, the object negation. How many agree with Rachel? Raise hands. Okay, by now all hands should come up. Right? Some hands are not coming up. Which means that the last 3 days of teaching is just gone waste. Right? Okay. Objective existence is object negation. Raise hands. Very good. What do you understand by objective existence? Without knowing what objective existence, how can you negate it? How can you say that this is object negation? This is my question. So, what do you understand by objective negation? Anyone? This is so important. So many of you have already given your answers. This is so important. Until we identify the object negation well, you cannot possibly negate it. Without negating this, you cannot possibly understand emptiness. Without understanding emptiness, you continue to be the dream. You continue to be sucked up in the dream, and that you will not be free from the dream. You continue to be in Miseries of samsara, the dream of samsara. We can never come out of this. So therefore, identifying object negation is extremely important. What do you understand by objective existence? Okay, for your information, let's see what the Anipatana said. Inherent existence. Objective existence, there are several synonyms. Let's make note of these. Objective existence, inherent existence, objective existence, inherent existence, intrinsic existence, ultimate existence, absolute existence, true existence, independent existence. What else? Existence from its own side. Very good. Okay, let me repeat them. Objective existence, intrinsic existence, inherent existence, ultimate existence, absolute existence, independent existence, true existence, existence from its own side, truly established existence. Very good. Truly established existence, existence from one's own characteristics, existence from one's own characteristics. They all mean the same. Let me repeat it. Okay, what are they? Objective existence, intrinsic existence, inherent existence, ultimate existence, absolute existence, true existence, independent existence, existence from his own side, existence with self-established existence, and existence from one's own characteristics. Very good. So these are all synonyms. These are all synonymous. So the question is, for the time being, we can just say that these are synonymous. That's it. Later on, as your understanding of emptiness, as the studies become more and more extensive, as you engage in more and more extensive studies, reflection, and then when you get some understanding of emptiness, that what I'm seeing is not the reality. When you get some understanding, then don't just say that these 8 or 9 the words these technical terms are synonymous. You have to see how they are synonymous experientially. Experientially, you have to see how they are synonymous. Not just, okay, these are said synonymous in the book. Don't go like this. For time being, you can go like this, because to see that how they are synonymous, you must have some degree of understanding of emptiness, without which you cannot say that these are synonymous. But later on, don't just leave it there to say that it is in the text. You have to get some understanding. And even these 10 different words, there can be more even. And these 10 different words, if you're able to understand emptiness and try to relate this with each of these words, they will take you deeper, clearer and clearer into what emptiness is. Intrinsic, inherent. Although we say these two are synonymous, but experiential speaking, they say these two are two different isolates. Two different isolates, they will take you to emptiness from a different angle. Inherent, intrinsic, absolute, ultimate, true, independent, from his own side, and so forth. We see that they have their own different angles by which to take you to emptiness. Okay, so what is meant by objective existence? This question. Okay, pick up anything that is on a table. Pick up anything. Okay, now look at it and see how does it appear to you. Does it appear to you the way Hadrilla said? Does it appear to you as to like your mind is projecting it like a movie, projecting it, or nothing to do with my mind, so independent in the air? So from the object is as well, like the object is telling me that I am the pen, I am the book, right? Just look at it and see how the object appears to your mind, to your eyes. Okay, anyone? How does it appear to you? Raise hands. Yes.
Appears to be there.
Appears to be there from the object, nothing to do with my mind. This is known as objective existence. Something exists from the object, nothing to do with your subject, nothing to do with your mind. Okay. And how many of you think that it actually exists that way? Raise hands. It appears that way. Also that Yes, this is how it exists. Presents. The belief that it exists as objectively, this is known as self-grasping ignorance. You getting it? The belief that things do exist objectively, that is known as self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance of the person, self-grasping ignorance of the flower, self-grasping ignorance of nirvana, self-grasping ignorance of breakfast, self-grasping ignorance of Thosamling, self-grasping ignorance of samsara. So, see, you can relate this to anything, it becomes self-grasping related to that object. Okay. So with this, yes.
So, so if I see something I have not seen before, does that mean there's no negation?
Like what?
Like if I've seen some instruments that I don't know.
Say, let's say that you are seeing, say, Pinzola for the first time in your life.
Okay, but I can still use a human being. But
Yes.
if you want to have like objects that I,
Can you tell me anything?
if I say, I see that I'm not seen before.
Let's say
like a musical instruments.
a musical instrument is a physical form. You have seen so many physical forms before.
I don't know how it works.
You don't know how Pinzola works.
So that still is a negation.
Is
And that means that if I don't know how, or know who, or know that means there's
okay. So this is a very interesting discussion which Kai is bringing up. Let's say that you have never seen a book before, or you have never seen a watch like this before. Say you're back in 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago. You have never seen such a watch. Now you see it, oh, there's a black object, right? And you have no clue how it operates. What's happening inside? There's something moving inside. You have no clue that these are the digits. You have no clue, right? So you know the black object, black object does exist, but you don't know how it operates. You don't know that. And what makes things moving inside? Something's moving inside, right? What we call as number 9, 10, 11 is moving, the seconds moving. But the person doesn't have any clue. Something's moving. Something's moving or not? Something's moving. This is what the person knows. But the person doesn't know precisely what that something is. You're getting it? So the person has the knowledge of the object, which, as you said, has, for example, something's moving. Let's seen the cows moving. Likewise, there's something moving there. So the person has seen something, then the person does not know the full import of what that object is. But the person does know something of this object. So what the person knows, that is something which it appears as objectively real. Okay, good. Now the next question is, how do we know that the object that I'm holding, likewise you look at things all around you, the people around you, on the walls, the windows, the beautiful trees, the sunshine, and yourself, everything is seen as objectively real. Just look around and tell me, yes, everything is seen as objectively real. Right? True, not true? You agree, not agree? Yes. So this is how our mind is deceived 24/7. And in reality, what we are seeing is deceptive. That's not true. And you have to discover it. Don't invent it. Don't exaggerate it. You have to discover it. The Buddha discovered this reality. Buddha did not invent this reality. You're getting it? So our job is to discover the reality. It doesn't mean that you marry to emptiness, everything will disappear, right? Then you will be left alone. This is misconception. Whether you marry to, even if you realize emptiness directly, but the daily traffic will be continuously there. Daily pollution will be there, right? And here the beautiful sun, yes, the sunshine, the greeneries will be there. Don't worry that they will disappear, right? With the emptiness meditation, nothing will disappear. You're getting it? If at all something disappears, what can disappear is your self-grasping ignorance will disappear. Nothing else. You're getting it? Okay. With this in mind, how do we know that things don't exist objectively? This is the question. So for that, we need to go through the 4 essentials. What is the first one? Identify the object negation, essential identify the object negation. So what we said is that we have to identify object negation so precisely, the way our MTech said, right? If you don't identify, if you don't know what the object is, you cannot say that it exists or it does not exist. You're getting it? You cannot say that it exists or it does not exist. So when I ask you that I have no solar in my pocket, is it a true statement or a false statement? You have no clue. So you ask me what? You ask me what does it mean by solar? When I say it's a bucket or it is bucket, then you said, oh, this is a false statement. You cannot have a bucket in your pocket. You're getting it? Okay. So you have to, in other words, you have to identify the object negation so well. If you don't identify the object negation well, you may negate something which should not be negated. You're getting it? So this is what oftentimes happens. Say the bodyguards, what's the job of the security guards? Hey, what's the job of the security guards? Reasons? Reasons? Yes, Angela? Identify the? Identify and not only identify, but stop them. You're getting it? So Ninjala will add, you are the thief. Okay, you're going inside, let go. Right? I've identified you. Right? Identify and stop them. You're getting it? Okay. So you have to stop. Sometimes when we fail to identify the person well, right? Say you are the, how many you, if possible, the possibility is there that you can be the chief security guard of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Right? Okay, this is a very, very honored job. Right? Say, imagine that you are chief security of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So you should stop all the bad people. Bad people meaning the terrorists and so forth. And say if you identify the person wrongly, right? If you're not a successful chief security guard, right? Then you think that, oh, the terrorist means somebody with a gun, right? In the hand, with all these, like, what? The very strange, the dresses, bombs, right? And somebody comes with a wooden suit, very nice, right? Please go in. Like, that is a real terrorist. And His Holiness says, the other security guards with a gun, they come. You're the terrorists, don't come, right? Actual security guards with a gun, when they come, you stop them. And the terrorists with a very wooden suit, they come, then you let him in. It's a disaster. Why disaster? Because you fail to identify the object negation well. You're getting it? So therefore, when identify object negation, we should be very careful to think of two things, the two extremes. Two extremes, you have to identify object negation so precisely that, for example, I remember when I was very young, I must be in my 20s, 21, not 21, 22, that my teacher, Venerable Geshe Rinpoche, and somebody you met? Venerable Geshe Rinpoche, IBD. Geshe Gyatso. Yes. All the other students, they feel so scared to go to his office. Yes. Gishima, you remember? Yeah. Yes. Everybody's so scared. Somehow, I don't know why I do not feel that fear. Actually, he could have easily scolded me because I was just in the second year. To ask questions on emptiness is the 10th-year question, 10th-year class. And I went to his office, so naively went there in the office and asked, sir, I have a question. And nobody dared to go to him. And I went there and I said, yes. And he was so confused. He said, people don't really come to him. So today, the young monk came and said, I have a question. Yes. Say the emptiness, how is it none of them negative? And I was so amazed. And he would give all the answers. He would used to say that this is not your subject, right? You have to focus on the topics that you have to study in the class. It's many years later. He never said it. He explained it to the extent that is so warm. He said that Emptiness is like, say, he drew a line like this. He drew a line. Emptiness, to get to emptiness is like, say, this is a line. This line there, and put it there on the table, and you are to push a marble from distance. And your job is to let the marble sit on the line. If it does not hit the line, it is nihilism. Or no, let's say it is absolutism. If you overshoot the line, it is nihilism. Right? So your job is to let the marble sit on the line so perfectly. And the line will not stop the marble. Or how to make it happen that the marble sits on the line. The line will not hold you, hold the marble. How to make it happen? Anyone? Huh? Raise hands. What practice? Practice hit it, overshoot? Practice what? Anyone? Huh? Concentration to put it behind the line? Huh? Concentration to put it on the line? So how to do that? Focus on the line and give a hard push so the ball runs beyond that. So you need to have a regulated force. The force that you apply to the marbles must be properly regulated. It should not be too strong. It should not be too less. If it is less, it cannot even hit the line, which means you are in the extreme of absolutism. At the moment, most of us, we are in the absolutism, extreme of absolutism, where things are objectively real. You don't even hit the emptiness of true existence. Then if you overshoot it or is overexerted, what happens? It crosses the line, it goes beyond the line. That is nihilism. This is an analogy that my teacher gave me, and it's very helpful. It's amazingly brilliant, the analogy that he gave. So with this, the thing is that we have to identify the object of negation so precisely. If it is less, you cannot touch emptiness. If it is more, you fall into nihilism. You're getting it? So identify object of negation plays a very important role. For that matter, you have to avoid the two extremes. What are two extremes? Extreme of? Okay, no, different extremes are there. One is known as, hey, people from Deer Park Retreat. Hey, people from Deer Park Retreat. No. From Deer Park Retreat? Ravi? No. Oh. Anyone else from Deer Park? Hey, Yandela. Yandela's hiding. Okay. Maximalist redundancy and minimalist inadequacy. Thank you. Okay, these are two extremes. When you speak of extremes, don't always talk about absolutism, nihilism all the time. It should be understood in the context of in a proper context. In this context, one is known as maximalist redundancy and the minimalist inadequacy. Maximalist redundancy and minimalist inadequacy. Okay, what is that? Minimalist inadequacy means that when you identify object negation too less, minimalist. When you identify object negation too less, you cannot even get there to emptiness. You cannot even get there. You cannot even hit the line. Minimalist inadequacy. For example, let's say that what is object of negation? If I say that the object negation, okay, as we said before, let's say that object negation is let's say let's say, the independently existing human being. What does it mean by objective existence? Objective existence means independently existing human being. So when you negate it, then the non-human beings, you cannot negate the non-human beings. Because non-human beings, they are not human beings. We cannot negate them. You're getting it? So therefore, object negation should not be minimalist inadequacy. It must be adequate enough that you negate it and emptiness is understood. Object negation should be such that when you negate it, the moment you negate it, emptiness must come to your mind. You must cognize emptiness at that moment. You negate object negation and you must cognize the emptiness simultaneously. That should be the meaning of objective existence. The word object negation. Okay. So minimalist inadequacy and maximalist redundancy. So let's say that what's object negation? Things existing phenomena. So when you negate the existing phenomena, what happens? You negate more than what is negated. If you say that the Buddha taught nothing exists, selflessness, there's no self, there's nothing existent. You negate everything. Is this over negation or proper negation? Over negation. You negate more than what is to be negated. You have to negate objective existence. You don't negate phenomena. You will negate objectively existent phenomena, but not phenomena per se. You're getting it? So this is known as it's a maximalist redundancy. When you say reject more than what is required, that is known as maximalist redundancy. What is minimalist redundancy? Minimalist inadequacy? You reject less than what is required to be rejected. That is minimalist inadequacy. For example, let's say that the things exist. What is object negation? Object negation means something existing permanently. Something existing as permanent. When you reject permanence, does emptiness come to you? It doesn't come to you. And also that you cannot reject permanence on the non-composite phenomena. Right? So it is what? Minimalist inadequacy or maximalist redundancy. If you ask me, what is object negation of emptiness? I say permanent phenomena. Is it maximalist redundancy or minimalist inadequacy? Minimalist inadequacy. Why? Why? Raise hands. Why? Raise hands. Yes, Pablo?
Because we are bringing down the characteristics of permanence.
We are bringing down the characteristics of permanence, of the permanence, which means?
Which means you are lessening down the qualities of the permanence.
Okay. So Pablo, are you saying that, for example, a non-composite phenomena, when you say permanent phenomena, is there object negation? Then you have to negate all permanent phenomena. Non-composite phenomena is also rejected. So reject more than what is required. And with the impermanent phenomena, right? With the impermanent phenomena, you reject permanence. Then does it give you the answer emptiness? Hey, when you reject the impermanent phenomena as permanent, when you reject permanence on the impermanent phenomena, does it give you the understand emptiness to you? No, it's very gross. You're getting it? So you see that when you say the permanent phenomena as object negation, it has two problems. One, with respect to the permanent phenomena, it becomes maximalist redundancy. With the impermanent phenomena, it becomes minimalist inadequacy. Because you reject it, still you don't touch emptiness for the impermanent phenomena. For the permanent phenomena, you reject the permanent phenomena completely, which is maximalist redundancy. You are rejecting more than what is negated, because permanent phenomena are permanent. You cannot reject permanence. If you negate it, you fall into nihilism. That is maximalist redundancy. You're getting it?
Geshe, my question is that, like, you draw the line, for example, on the people, and not to cross the line either like too much or too less, like the line is there so it's easy to see. But when meditating on emptiness in the mind, so there's no line to draw. Like I would not know how to do less like much. So how would I recognize?
Okay, that's a very complicated question. That's true. With this paper, at least I can see the line. So I will try to push the ball properly, that it's not overly forceful or less energy. You make sure that it is force enough to sit there. I can see the line. But with emptiness, I don't see the line there. So how do I get there? How do I know this? Anyone?
You need to remember the teachings.
Okay, you remember the teachings on impermanence, or teaching on emptiness. You need to remember the teaching on emptiness. Anyone else? Yes.
As soon as we recognize the emptiness, immediately that's it. We give the line.
Okay. So you don't know whether it's a line or not line. Whether I understood emptiness or not. You're not sure, right? Okay, Raviji.
By applying maximum redundancy and minimum inadequacy.
Anila, what's your name? Sonam Lama. Angmula. So Angmula and Raviji, both of them are saying the same thing. Saying that you have to remember the teaching on what is maximalist redundancy and minimalist inadequacy. These two will help you identify the two spaces demarcated by this line, mental line. Right? There's no physical line, mental line. You have to remember these two teachings. For these two white parts, you don't remember the teachings. You just look at it, you can see that. But why the teachings are so important is that because the line is not visible. It should be a mental line. And the two parts should be mental, the mental understanding of the two spaces. And the line should be a mental line. So one is the maximalist redundancy, other one is minimalist inadequacy. You have to remember these on the basis of the teachings that you have received. So the teachings will help you. That's the perfect answer. Yes?
So in that case, we are talking about two extremes, right? So then, when would be the right time for us to see in just nice in the middle?
Very good question. It's the same question. Same question. Very good. Abhishekji? Abhishekji, how would you respond to this?
You already answered that there is, we negate dominance completely, or if we accept impermanence completely, then we are probably of maximum and
Okay, Abhishek is also saying the same thing. We have to remember the teaching so well as to what constitutes the maximalist redundancy, what constitutes the minimalist inadequacy. You have to remember these two well, and then, let's say, try to correlate what you've learned with your experience. Correlate the two. And at times, your mind can, and of course, it requires the people to double check with your, the seniors, teachers, and experienced practitioners, particularly those who have vast learning, not just like, no learning at all, and then practice, no clue what is non-affirming negative, right? And then people think that the person is a great practitioner, and actually, so therefore vast learning is so important to have them double-checked with somebody who has a vast learning and who has experience of this. This is so important. And for example, Lama Tsongkhapa, I shared this with you in a class. Lama Tsongkhapa, through his mutual teacher-student, Lama Umapa. Through Lama Umapa, he brought this question, his doubt, to Arya Manjushri, whether or not my understanding of emptiness is the correct understanding. But I hit the line right there. Then Arya Manjushri said that not yet. But if you strive with three efforts or three things, then soon you will realize emptiness in its true form. First one is to make a very strong supplication to your guru to be viewed as inseparably one with the deity, the Buddha, and then to resort to study, extensively study and reflect on the basis of the authentic books on emptiness by the Indian masters. Then number 3, to engage in the efforts to purify the negativities and accumulate merit. So with these 3 efforts, very soon you will unfold what emptiness is. This is the advice given by Geshe to Lama Tsongkhapa. This is a very serious question. Yes? Good. Okay. Yes. On what? Okay. Maximalist redundancy and minimalist inadequacy. Okay. Good question. Okay, let's say that if you are this is like, you like the security guard who to go, allow them, who to allow to see holiness and who not to be allowed. You have to check. You have to stop those who are not the evil, the social elements, and allow those people who are not threats. So you should have extremely sharp intelligence to know who's to be stopped, who's to be allowed. So for example, let's say that as I said earlier, if I said that if you are the chief security guard, just imagine that, and you receive a call from somebody, okay, tomorrow there's the terrorists coming, and they will try to enter the palace of His Holiness, His Holiness' residence. Be very careful. So what do you need to do? So Lakshmiji as the chief security guide. So what's the problem? If she says, okay, I got the telephone call today. Today, no one is allowed to enter the gate of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. No one is allowed, right? Will you succeed in stopping the terrorist? No, nobody is allowed. Do you succeed in stopping the terrorist? Huh? Right? Hey, say for object. You go to the object and they say, what is there as a self? The five aggregates, six elements, then the bones, atoms, and from you are going to closer to this object. Closer to the object, you come to discover that there's nothing to be identified as the Minogaji, right? The self. What is the self? Nothing to be found from the object. So what is the self? From the subject. So if the self is rejected completely, both object subject, you fall into maximalist redundancy. You have to reject the objective, not the subjective. If you reject object subject both, that is maximalist redundancy. Yeah.
And if the moment I see myself, like the skin is gone and eye is anyway gone, because the moment skin is gone, I can't see myself anymore. So if I stop there, is it minimalist?
Okay, so when you say, it depends. For some people, just by seeing that this self is nothing but made of body and the mind, you don't even have to go to the skin. Just say that this I'm just made of the body and the mind. The body is not to be identified as intrinsically one with the self. The mind is also not being identified as intrinsically one with the self. Different from these two, there's no self there. Just there, without going deeper, just there, one can understand emptiness for some people. Yeah. Yes.
Krishna, can we understand this concept like if you want to play the guitar, so that the wires are too tight or too low, then the music will not be created?
This amazing example. Too tight is a problem. Too loose is a problem. Too loose is minimalist inadequacy. You could not tie it enough. Too tight is maximalist. Oh, you have overdone. The maximalist redundancy. Minimalist inequality is a perfect example. Very good. Kapil. Thank you. Okay, Kapil. Louder.
Like if you want to play the guitar and you want to play the music, if the wires are too tight and too loose, then the music will not be created. That is asking me.
Very good. In fact, I think Kapil will realize emptiness on the basis of the guitar. Because there are many earlier saints, some who were tailors. Tailors by tailoring. Where's objective existence stitching happening? The needle is not the stitch. The threads, they are not the stitch. The cloth is not the stitch. But dependence on these, then there's something stitches coming out. Independently, there's no stitching. There's no stitch happening, right? So there's independence is empty. So simply by stitching, they realize emptiness. And some of them, they are the blacksmith hitting the what? The metal with the hammer, huge hammer, hitting it. And where is this? I'm not of the structure, the vase, whatever. The vase, I'm not. And the hammer is not. And that metal is also not. And in between, there's no vase there. Somewhere, by depends on all these factors, then the vase comes into existence. So some of the great saints, they were originally blacksmiths. And some of them, they are the, what do you call this? The washermen who wash clothes of the people, the professional washermen, right? They wash the clothes. Where is removal of the stains? Where's the removal of the stains of the clothes? The cloth per se is not. My hand is not. Water is not. Where is it? But depends on these factors, then something phenomenon known as the cloth being clean came out, right? But depends on these factors, then realize emptiness. Yeah. So Kapil will realize emptiness by playing guitar, right? Wonderful. That's amazing. Yes.
So, would it be right to say when the minimalistic inadequacy is challenging the extreme of absolutism? You have not negated the object enough. So that would be rejecting or referring to the extreme of absolutism, right? Whereas the maximalistic redundancy, because we have negated more than what needs to be, then the danger is falling into nihilism.
Very good. Did you follow what Venerable is saying? Is that now Venerable is relating the two versions of the two extremes. One extreme that we are talking about in general is extreme of nihilism and extreme of absolutism. Now here in the context of maximalist redundancy, minimalist redundancy, minimalist inadequacy is really in which context? In the context of in the context of identifying the object of negation. You are getting it? Okay. So then, when we are trying to relate these two, the two extremes in the context of the object of negation, maximalist redundancy and the minimalist inadequacy versus the emptiness being the middle way, rejecting two extremes, extreme of absolutism and extreme nihilism. How do you correlate these two? Is by saying when you fall in the extreme of minimalist inadequacy, you cannot reach even the level of the what is to be negated. So you negate too less. Because of this, you fall in the extreme of absolutism. You continue to see things as objectively real. So because of minimalist inadequacy, you fall in the extreme of absolutism. Whereas maximalist redundancy, when you reject more than what is to be negated, then you fall into nihilism, extreme of nihilism. So this is how when Petula related, this is perfectly well. Yes, over there?
So you kind of defined as, in this context, absolutism is when you continue to see things as objectively real.
Yes.
In nihilism, the definition would be that you continue to, or you have...
That nothing exists. That nothing exists. Nihilism means that nothing exists. You remember the first two questions? Do things exist? The answer is yes. If you say no, that is nihilism. And what's the second question? Do things exist objectively? If the answer is yes, this is absolutism. Okay, good. So with this, now the point is that after having identified the object negation well by skipping the two extremes, maximalist redundancy, minimalist inadequacy, let's say that you've identified the object so well. Things existing as independent real, independent of my mind, independent of subjective mind. Let's say that you have identified it so well. Now, how do you reject it? So for this, I say okay, you tell me. Imagine that you are 1 kilometer away from me. You are 1 kilometer away from me, and then you see me in water, right? How do you evaluate what you are seeing is actually water, or what you are seeing is just a mirage? How do you evaluate that? Imagine that you are 1 kilometer away from me and you see me in water. Is he really in water, or this is deceptive? How do you evaluate this? What will you do? Hey, Yingselang, what will you do? Come closer to me. Very good. So, what you do is that you come closer to me to see, closer to the object from where the water appears. Coming closer, when you discover that there's no water there, it's just so dry. What do you conclude? What you earlier saw as water was deceptive. What you earlier saw as water was mirage. It was not a real water, it was a mirage. It is deceptive. You have seen mirage as water. You are getting it? To evaluate that, you have to come close to the object. Likewise, okay, let's say this flower. Okay, every day is withering. Okay, so let's say that this flower. Say, how do you see this flower? As objectively real or as subjectively real? How does this flower appear to you? As objectively real. Now, how do you evaluate if the flower does exist objectively? Whether or not it exists objectively, what should you do? Go closer towards the object. You're getting it? Go closer to the object. Okay. Let me tell you that, say, you want to know, okay, Chirintundula. Chirintundula is applying for an IT job in Thosamling. Right? Tibet staff, Tibet IT. And you know him the last how many days? 4 or 5 days. And I know Chirintundula for how many years? Many years. You know how many years? No, more than 4. 2 years COVID. Right? 6, 7 years. 6, 7 years. Say, then if you are the interviewer and you need information about Chirintundula, right? I say, would you get the information from somebody who met Chirintundula the last few days, 4 days, or from me? And both me and a person who met Chirintundula the last 4 days, both of us are equally intelligent and equally honest, right? Equally honest. So from whom would you get the information? From me. Why? Because I know him more closely. You getting it? I know him more closely. So who knows the object more closely? The flower more closely? The one who goes closer to this object or one from distance? One closer towards the object. Closer to this object, let's say that your naked eyes see the flower. Your naked eyes see this object. Through an electron microscope, or you also see this object. You getting it? With your naked eyes, you see the object. Through electron microscope, you also see the object. Which of the two sees the object more closely? Naked eyes or the electron microscope? Electron microscope. Very good. So, with the naked eyes, what do you see this object as? You see this object as a flower. With the electron microscope, what do you see this object as? As empty opening a flower. There's no flower there. You're getting it? It's too close and flower is not seen. There's no flower there. It just sees a bunch of atoms. No flower. Okay. So which of the two sees the object more closely? Electron microscope or the naked eyes? Electron microscope. Now from this, what I'm saying is that the mind which sees the object from more close inspection is known as ultimate analysis. The mind which sees the same object from distance is known as conventional analysis. You getting it? Okay, I'm introducing these two concepts. Well, concepts, the mind classified into two. One is ultimate analysis and the other one is conventional analysis. This is a very important concept. Yes?
I'm guessing a microscope wouldn't ever give ultimate analysis because you could always get closer to it. What about?
Okay, so let me say this example. We're getting it? This example, and of the two, which is closer to this object? Naked eyes or the electron microscope? Very good. Of the two, one is closer. What sees the object closely? We call it ultimate analysis. The mind which sees the object from distance is known as conventional analysis. For the time being, just learn this, and the question asked by the Ben is a very serious question. You have to analyze it. Don't forget it. But for the time being, keep this in mind. There are two minds. The mind which sees the object more closely, the mind which sees the object from distance. The mind which sees the object from closely is known as ultimate analysis. The mind which sees the object from distance is known as conventional analysis. And which of the two is more deceptive, can be more likely deceptive? From distance, conventional analysis is deceptive. You're getting it? Say this tsunami from distance, you see it's very beautiful. And this is one which is going to kill you. You're getting it? That is deceptive. Whereas from close, you see it's very ferocious, you will instantly run away. That saves you. You're getting it? So the mind, which sees the object, there are two kinds, ultimate analysis and conventional analysis. Let's not forget this. Now, you want to see the object, to see if the object exists objectively or subjectively, to see if it appears as objectively real. Now you have to evaluate, just as you have evaluated whether I'm in water or not in water. How do you evaluate this? Ingzela. How did you evaluate to see whether I'm in water or not? By coming closer towards me. Likewise, to evaluate if this flower exists objectively or not, what should you do? Your mind should go closer to its object. What is that mind known as? The mind which goes closer to its object? Ultimate analysis. You're getting it? So you have to subject the flower to ultimate analysis to see if the flower actually exists objectively. Let me repeat it. How we see the object, how the object appears to us is that object appears as objectively real. Now we want to evaluate whether the flower actually exists objectively. So to evaluate if the flower exists objectively, what should we do? We should come closer. What is that mind known as coming closer to object? There is no ultimate analysis. So this is what Insela said. What Insela said, this is exactly said by Aranyagarjuna. In Ratnamala, or the Precious Garden, Aranyagarjuna said, if the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? So to evaluate if what you are seeing, the mirage, whether it is a real water or mirage, you have to come closer to this object. Likewise, to see if this flower exists objectively or not, you have to come closer to this object. What is that mind which evaluates the object by going close to the object? What is that mind known as? Ultimate analysis. So, to evaluate this object, to see if it exists objectively or not, you have to subject the flower to ultimate analysis. You getting it? Okay. Now, subjecting the flower to ultimate analysis, if you don't see the flower, which means what do you conclude? Subjecting the flower to ultimate analysis, if you don't see the flower, what will you conclude? Will you conclude the flower is non-existent? Or what do you conclude? That the flower doesn't exist objectively, because you are subjecting the flower to ultimate analysis, to a mind which is examining if the flower exists objectively. So when that mind does not see the flower, it means the flower is absent from the object. It doesn't mean that the flower doesn't exist. It simply means the flower is empty objectively. Subjectively, it can still exist. But if it exists subjectively, this ultimate analysis will not see. Ultimate analysis, okay, let's say that, okay, electron microscope, can it see the universe? Huh? Electron microscope, can it see the Milky Way galaxy? Why not? This is such a refined microscope. Hey, why not the electron microscope cannot see the Milky Way galaxy? Why not? Raise hands. Okay, MTech. Why not? Huh? Milky Way galaxy is so huge, and the electron microscope is? No, electron microscope is not too small. What electron microscope sees is a micro object, not a macro. Whereas the Milky Way galaxy is a macro object. You're getting it? So don't expect to see the macro object through the object to see the macro, right? And don't expect to see the macro, the atoms by the telescope. Don't expect that. The most refined telescope cannot see the atoms. Why? Because telescopes are meant to see the macro world, not the macro world. You're getting it? And the atoms are the micro world, not the macro. So likewise, See, the ultimate analysis will only see whether the flower exists objectively or not. It will not see if the flower exists subjectively. You're getting it? The flower exists subjectively is a macro. The flower not existing objectively is the macro. You're getting it? It's a subtle object. Okay, so with this in mind, the next point is what's the second essential?
Krishna, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So the analysis that we do in the emptiness meditation of is the self, the earth, water, fire.
Okay, hold it. We're doing the next point, essential. You're getting it? What's the second essential? I don't know what Venerable Bidnala is asking, I know that. You're getting it? So what's the second essential? Let me finish this essential 2, 3, 4, and then we go to Venerable Bidnala's question. Yes?
Geshe, I have a question. Would a flower see a your perspective itself?
Say it again. A flower?
Would see itself. That could be a short perception.
Flower will never see itself.
I mean, that's just an example.
So for example, you can see yourself.
Yes, right.
Okay, say somebody can see me through electron microscope, somebody can see me from distance, and I can see myself. Right? There are 3 perceptions. So me seeing myself belongs to which category? Ultimate analysis, conventional analysis. Huh? Me seeing myself. I'm Dorji, right? I'm Dorji. This ultimate analysis, conventional analysis. Huh? This fall, yes, hence. That one is 100%. This is conventional analysis, right? Say, this is conventional analysis that I'm seeing myself. I'm Dorji, right? Whereas if I say, yes, I'm empty. I'm empty of truly existent Dorji. That is ultimate analysis. Whereas I'm Dorji. This is conventional analysis. You're getting it. Within me, there are 2 analyses. Yeah, good. Okay, so now, what's the second essential? Essential of understanding the emptiness of the object being intrinsically one with its parts. And what is the third essential? Essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being intrinsically different from its parts. Okay, we'll work on these 2 now. Say, now to see that this flower, to see whether this flower exists objectively or not, which of the 2 analyses will you employ? Louder. Ultimate analysis. Very good. So, ultimate analysis means, let's say, what is this? Conventionally speaking, what is this? Flower. This is conventionally speaking. Conventional speaking means that analysis which says this flower is a conventional analysis. Okay. How many of you ever went to shop in the mornings to buy milk? Raise hands. Or bread? Raise hands. Or to buy something? Raise hands. All of us. Right? So if you bought, let's say, bread, so the shopkeeper gives you something as a bread. And you say, is this bread or a bunch of atoms? Why are you laughing? Is this bread? This is fine. It's a bunch of atoms? You laugh. Why do you laugh? Because this is very unconventional question. Yes? Very unconventional. Yes? Just say louder.
Yes.
Okay. This is very unconventional question. So what is unconventional is known as ultimate. In a loose sense, for the time being. What is unconventional, what is not conventional, we call it ultimate. And why? That will come later, not now. Right? Okay. So is it bread? Right? Or a bunch of atoms? Right? And shopkeeper will say, leave it, go. Right? Right? Okay. So which means why the shopkeeper sends you away? Not giving the bread? Because you are asking something very unconventional. Right? Okay. So the shopkeeper is expecting what questions?
Oh, what's the date? Is it expired? The shopkeeper will not mind you asking this question. It's a bunch of atoms? You'll be very upset. You're getting it? So those questions which the ordinary shopkeepers would be happy to entertain, these are known as the conventional questions, which they will be totally upset, right? Totally upset, and which they don't have the answer. These are the unconventional questions. So that analysis, which is unconventional, is known as ultimate analysis. You're getting it? Now, to see this object, whether this flower exists objectively or not, what will you employ? You employ the unconventional question or conventional question? Unconventional question. You employ the ultimate analysis. You're getting it? With ultimate analysis, what should you do? You should go closer to this object. Going closer to this object, what do you end up seeing? First, you end up seeing the cells with the flower, the cells. Now, to further going into the object, you see the nucleus inside, chromosomes inside, the DNA molecules inside the atoms. You can go further, but stay there for time being, stay there. Now imagine that you are just in a pool of atoms. You're getting it? So where's the flower? No flower. But the other person is saying that this is a flower. But you are saying there's no flower there. You're getting it? Okay, this is so important. So now, if the flower does exist objectively, there are only two options. If the flower does exist objectively, that flower should be seen by which of the two analysis? Ultimate analysis. And what does the ultimate analysis see? What it sees is pool of atoms. Okay, if somebody tells me that you have taken my Rolex watch and it is in your hand right now, how many hands I have? 2. So I said that no, I did not take your Rolex watch. It's not in my hand. He said no, it is in your hand right now. So since I have 2 hands, there's only 2 options. So I open the first hand, it's empty, but it can be the other hand. I open the second hand as well. Now, this is the proof. Since there are only 2 options for me to have your Rolex watch in my hand, there are only 2 options. When I disprove, when I ruled out the 2 possibilities, the only 2 possibilities, it entails that your statement that you claim that I took the Rolex watch in your hand is faulty. You're getting it? It is false. Okay. So, if the flower does exist objectively, there are only 2 options for the flower to exist objectively. Objectively, it should be seen by the ultimate analysis. And the ultimate analysis, there are only 2 possibilities. One is atoms. The atoms should be the flower. Or if the atoms are not the flower, if you still believe the flower is there objectively, remove the atoms, there should be the flower different from the atoms. You're getting these are only 2 options. So atoms, are they the flower? The flower is very beautiful. The flowers this flower is red in color. It's very beautiful. But the atoms, they are not red in color. Atoms, they are not beautiful. You agree with me? So atoms is not the flower. Now, there's one possibility that is ruled out. If that is not true, and if you still believe that the flower exists objectively, then remove the atoms to see if the flower exists as intrinsically different, objectively different from the atoms, the parts. Atoms are the parts. Different from the atoms, remove the atoms to see if the flower exists different from objectively different from the parts. What do you see? Nothing is there as a flower. These are the only 2 options. When these 2 options are ruled out, you get a conclusion that from the object there's no flower at all. You're getting it? Okay. So this understanding that realizing the emptiness of the object being intrinsic one with the parts or different from the parts, when you realize that these both are empty, then from the object it's empty. So the pervasion, the third one, the fourth one, understanding the essential of understanding the pervasion that anything which is empty of being intrinsically one and intrinsically different from the past entails the emptiness of objectivity of the flower, objectivity of the object. You're getting it? From the object, therefore there's no flower as objectively real. Okay, good. So, And what we do is that when you get this, from the object, what is there? From the object, what is there? There's a flower. There's nothing, there's a flower. So what you get is that, so when you get this experience, there's nothing, there's a flower. From the object, in some cases, a tinge of fear can come in you. In some cases, a tickling sensation can come in your body. In some cases, goosebumps can come. In some cases, cold waves can flow through your body. And in some cases, extremely tranquil feeling can come to you. In some cases, a profound serenity can be experienced. Right? If any of these things experience comes to you, you are very fortunate, but don't be complacent. Think, oh, now I got emptiness. No, it can still be very gross. And if you get stuck there, thinking that I got emptiness, right? Then you are deceiving yourself. You are putting a hold on your journey towards ultimate happiness. Because you will not study anymore. You will not reflect anymore. And then you will not listen to the other experts anymore. Because you think that I've got emptiness. It puts an end to your journey. And then you cannot progress any further. This is a great setback. This is a great danger to your path. When you do get this experience, feel the joy. Feel that you are fortunate. But it's just an indication of the lighthouse. What's the job of the lighthouse? When you see the light from the lighthouse, it doesn't mean that you are already on the land. You are going the proper direction of the land. Don't forget it. You're getting it? So these experiences are so precious. But if you don't get these experiences, don't feel that I must be the hopeless person. No, it simply is an indication that you have to do further extensive studies, more reflection, and over time you are bound to get these experiences over time. Okay. So when you get the experience, a tickling sensation comes to you or a tinge of fear comes to you, you are getting the emptiness. It can be a very gross emptiness, it doesn't matter. This is how we have to begin. So when you get this, you have to check if this is emptiness. One way of checking this is that experience that you're getting, is this a non-affirming negative or not? Whether or not this is non-affirming negative. It is affirming negative or is a positive phenomena, it is not emptiness. Right? Even though you may feel that it's so profound. For example, let's say that this flower. You try to see the emptiness of the flower by subjecting the flower to ultimate analysis. Then you see the atoms. You just see the pool of atoms. The flower is not there, but you see the atoms. Okay, is that the emptiness?
No.
Why not? The emptiness that you see, the atoms that you're seeing, are they positive phenomena, negative phenomena, non-affirming, affirming, negative? This is a positive phenomenon. Positive phenomena can never be emptiness because emptiness should necessarily be negative, and not only negative, it should be non-affirming negative. So this is a clear indication that you are not getting emptiness. You are hanging after the positive phenomena. So it should be non-affirming negative. And one of the indications is that when you get this non-affirming negative experience with non-affirming negative, the tickling sensations, these can happen. But if it does not happen, it doesn't mean that you don't get the non-affirming negative. For example, let's say that, okay, there's no elephant in this house. There's non-affirming negative, but tickling sensations will not come. But there's no objective existence. Tickling sensation can come. Because it attacks your chronic belief. Chronic belief that things exist objectively. It challenges them. When the challenge comes, say that you don't expect something, and suddenly there's like, somebody, what do you call it? Prank. Prank? What is prank? What is prank? Trick. Somebody scares you, pretending as though like you are a ghost, and then as though the person is a ghost. You don't expect that, and suddenly you see a ghost there. You don't expect it, and suddenly something unexpected happens. Then what happens? The fear comes, or the fear, the body chills. All these things can happen. Likewise, When there's no objective existence, it challenges your chronic belief that things exist objectively. Unexpected understanding comes to you. So this is reflected in the form of the tinge of fear and so forth. Whereas if the fear is so acute, that you cannot bear it, then stop the meditation for some time and you have to consult it with the experienced teacher on emptiness. Right? Simply because somebody is in retreat for so long doesn't mean that person's experiencing emptiness. Don't confuse this. Simply because somebody is a scientist doesn't mean that the person is good in physics. You're getting it? Saying you have the issue about the brain, right? How the neurons work. Oh, where should I turn to? To whom to turn to? Or turn to a scientist. Or I go to Albert Einstein. For neuroscience, don't go to Albert Einstein, right? He's not expert in this. Simply because somebody is a scientist doesn't mean that he's good in all the sciences. Simply because somebody is in long-term retreat doesn't mean the person good in emptiness. Simply because somebody is for long-term retreat doesn't mean the person good in bodhicitta. You're getting it? You have to know what the specialization of the person is. And then accordingly you have to seek the help for yourself. Okay. Tiyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata. Okay, 3 prostrations.